and about our lovely university here in Limerick. So I'll try not to take too much of your time, and like that, it'll give you time then in the Q&A. And I have Apostolos with me today who will hopefully give a little bit of feedback on how his application process has been and how the experience so far has been at UL. So just to introduce myself, I am the International Officer for Europe and Turkey, and I myself studied in the university. So it's a good example of someone who had a good time there, studying business and French. I went off to Canada. I then spent a few years in Dublin, and now I have come back to Limerick, to the Midwest region, and to working in the university. So if you ever have questions about application, about the university, about the area, I'm your first port of call. I'd be the first person that you contact, if not the team at Global Educational Services. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So just kind of looking at where we are on the map, obviously, we're not too far from each other in terms of where things are. You have a good idea already, but we like to see ourselves as kind of being the center of the world, in that North America is just to the left of us across the Atlantic, and then the rest of Europe is on the right-hand side. So we're kind of a gateway to Europe is how Ireland sees itself. But why should you study in Ireland? Apart from the fact that in many ways it is less expensive now in terms of tuition than the UK. Other reasons is that it's a safe and friendly country. We have a very welcoming environment here. There's only 5 million people on the island, so we too are quite small, and ranked 3rd on the Global Peace Index in 2022. We're the largest English-speaking country in the Eurozone, the only one besides Malta. And we have a long-standing reputation for our level of education here in Ireland. So it's built on a solid foundation that goes back centuries. We're committed to providing education at an excellent level, and we're known as the land of saints and scholars for those who are interested in the more arts and history side of things. When it comes down to business, engineering, science, we're a globally connected country. So we're a European hub to over 1,500 multinational companies, because they know they have access to a skilled and educated workforce, to an English-speaking workforce who oftentimes also have another language, and who are highly capable and driven to succeed. So we have the European headquarters for Google, for LinkedIn, for Facebook. Many of those are based in Dublin, but outside of that, down here on the west coast of Ireland, we have many of the medical technology firms, pharma firms, all based nearby us here. In terms of visas, less relevant obviously to you guys. For EU students, you can work part-time while you are studying. Limerick itself then is actually the 3rd largest city in Ireland. So Dublin is over on the east coast, Cork is in the south, and Limerick, the 3rd largest, is based here almost on the west coast. Home to 150 nationalities, and 50% of the population of Limerick is under the age of 35. So it is very much a student town, and again, young professionals who've remained in the area because they don't necessarily need or want to go to Dublin or go abroad for jobs. It's a great base for exploring the rest of Ireland. In terms of Dublin, it's 2.5 hours on the bus. The bus goes directly from campus, so it's very easy to get to the city centre or the airport. And through the Students' Union, which I'll go through in a bit, we organise trips at the start of each semester as well to get to see things like the West Coast and some of the smaller, more touristy towns and villages. We don't have flights, unfortunately, from our local airport to anywhere in Cyprus. So it is generally Dublin that you'll be flying in and out of, unless you come via London. Lots of flights to London do land in Shannon. So Limerick, again, safe and friendly city based on the banks of the River Shannon, which is our longest river in Ireland. It's a mixture of everything. It is very small, as Apostolos will tell you. We're not a big country, so our cities are not big either. But it is a mixture of everything. We have King John's Castle. There's an art museum in the middle of the park. On Saturdays, there's a lovely farmers market. And you can very easily access the city from the campus. So we're actually based 5 kilometres outside of the city centre. We're our own city in many ways, which I'll show you in a few pictures, but there is a pathway and cycleway that connects the city centre with the university and various different ways you can come in. Of course, there's regular buses as well, but Limerick is a good mix in that it is that small city. It has the things you need, but it's also surrounded by beautiful green areas. So if you're into hiking or discovering the countryside, fishing, golf, mountain biking, they're all very popular around this area as well. And as I mentioned, outside of Dublin, Limerick is, although the 3rd largest city, it's the 2nd fastest growing area in terms of foreign direct investment. So being near Shannon Airport, we have big companies like Lufthansa based here. We have Jaguar Land Rover, Regeneron, Johnson & Johnson. So again, lots of the kind of pharmaceutical firms as well. So it's a mix of affordability without compromise. Ireland is quite an expensive country. However, Limerick is less expensive, of course, than Dublin, the capital city. Oops, there's some photos there of Limerick for you, but my slides are hopping all over the place. You'll see them afterwards. There we are. That's St. Mary's Cathedral, King John's Castle, Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. So again, you're kind of old meets new alongside each other. So in terms of the campus itself, and at that side of things, it's very easy to talk about. We have a stunning campus down at the University of Limerick. So it's a very community-based campus. People from nearby will come and walk across the campus, cycle, and you'll see kayakers out on the river. And as you can see there, the picture up the top, the river runs right through the centre of campus. So we actually technically have a north and south campus on either side of the river, connected by the living bridge. But as I said, it's very open, an easy place to exercise, an easy place to get a moment of quiet if the studies are getting too much. And we've loads of clubs and societies that use all these facilities as well. So just at a glance, that's a little bit of our university in the background there. 250,000 meters squared worth of buildings. So each of our faculties has its own dedicated building on the campus. And then you'll have the other kind of main building and supporting buildings where you'd have your tutorials and your lab work and your group work. We've over 100 different countries represented on campus, including Cypriots already. Again, top class, depending on what you're studying. But in terms, please do ask me afterwards if there's anything specific you'd like to know. For example, we have incredible facilities for aeronautical engineers, including a flight simulation deck, a wind tunnel for aerodynamics. For anybody interested in music and dance, we have dance practice rooms, music practice rooms in our World Academy, which is dedicated solely to music and dance. So there's everything across the board. And as you can see, the campus itself is a parkland campus, so it's nice and green. And top right, just to give you an example there, is Drumroe Village. So that's an example of one of the apartment blocks that students can live in. So you're always very close to your classes. Though sometimes it's a case of the closer you are, you're not on time for class because you get a bit too lazy, leaving it to the last minute. So again, just quick facts, we're about 17,000 students here on campus, 3,000 of those being international students. So that is going up every day. We're the #1 most recommended university in the International Student Barometer, which is effectively a big survey filled out by all the international students in Ireland and around the world. But we're the most recommended in Ireland by those students. So hopefully we'll remain in that top spot when we get the 2022 results. And a big selling point for us is that 96% of our graduates within 6 months are working or in further study. So between the actual level of education that you're gaining here within the year with us doing your postgraduate alongside those lecturers who have connections to the industry, and that it's known by employers what type of education you get in the university. We're very proud to have such a high rate of employment within 6 months. Another really important fact for anyone who is looking to study business is that our Chemie Business School is triple accredited. So we have AACSB, EQUIS and AMBA accreditation, which puts us in the top 1% of international business schools. So I kind of briefly mentioned it there, but we do have campus accommodation. However, it is difficult to secure just because we have lots of students. There's room for 3,000, but there's always very, very high demand. Here's some pictures from the various different apartments around campus. The maximum amount of people who would be in an apartment is 8. For postgraduate, it's more likely 6 students. In that situation, you'll have a bedroom like the one in the top right photo. So you have a double bed, you have an ensuite bathroom, and then you'll be sharing the kitchen and living space. Regardless of what type of setup, you're always sharing the kitchen and living space. But there's cooker, hob, fridge, freezer, enough room there for the amount of people who are living in the apartment. What I will say is that if anyone here is seriously considering coming to study in the university, the online booking system for accommodation on campus is now open for students looking to come in September 2023. As I said, the demand is very high, even though we do have an allocation for international students, but I would encourage you to apply to the university to your program, which will cost €50, and I'll mention that again in a minute, and then to also apply for your accommodation. So you need your UL student number to apply for accommodation, and that's also a €50 fee. The prices start at $7,350 for the academic year, which works out as about $820 per month, which when you do the actual maths on it is not that expensive because you have your guaranteed bedroom very close to or on campus. That includes your bills, so your gas, electricity, Wi-Fi, rubbish disposal, and it also gives you access to UL Sport. So you have membership of the gym, the swimming pool, and the various different classes there, which hopefully, Apostolos, if you don't mind, you can tell us a little bit about afterwards. So that's the link to apply. But when you get your information, your conditional offer letter, you would also have information about applying for accommodation on campus. In terms of sport, top class, our university actually began 50 years ago as a sports and exercise college. So our programs are very well known and respected. Many of the both local and provincial sports teams use our facilities to train. We have everything from a 50-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool to a 25-meter dive pool, a full rowing club with simulated rowing machines, as you can see, gym, yoga, Pilates studio, and various different courts, both indoor and pitches outdoor. So there really is a bit of everything. And it's nice too, even if you're not sporty, as someone who I would only have ever done the aerobics classes and that type of thing. It brings a great atmosphere to the campus though, when there are things being hosted. So we often host championships. We had lacrosse here last year. We had ultimate frisbee here last year. So it brings a bit of a vibrancy to the campus as well, which is nice. The library is just something I'd like to mention because, again, really is a top class facility here at the university. It was totally redone in 2018, and the majority of the books were actually placed underground where you can't see them. In the vault that you can see there on the right hand side, with the reason being to free up space for studying, whether that's the silent study rooms or in the group study rooms where you can hook up to a monitor and practice, say, your presentation or something together with other students. So it really is a great resource for students to have. It's open early, it's open till late, and the library team are there to provide assistance with either taking out books, booking spaces for study, and you can also rent laptops too, which is handy if you don't want to carry yours to campus for the day. Again, in terms of student supports and where we've been voted on this International Student Barometer, we are 4th globally for campus environment, which is something, again, that we're very, very proud of here. But supports covers a multitude of things, from the medical center on campus, should you need a doctor or a nurse or physio, to the learning centers, which are more educational support with maths, with science, with ICT, and with languages. And then on the more UL Global Student Union side of things, we have various different ways of connecting with students, from the mobile app, which you'll have a link to from your conditional offer letter. It's like joining groups where you can swap information with peers, ask questions of us in the international office and our ambassadors, and help each other out to kind of find those answers. So there's different groups depending on where you're from, what you're studying. Students who would need a visa, for example, will join a visa group to get that type of information. We have a big orientation week, which covers a full kind of Monday afternoon to Friday afternoon. In the mornings, it's the sessions like the library, ITD, making sure everybody is set up on all the necessary systems. And then in the midday, we try and meet up. We'll always have a coffee morning to meet with you guys so you can put faces to names. And then in the evening times, it's more music and dance and the cultural initiation into life in Ireland. The first 7 weeks program is similar then to orientation, but it is that we have student ambassadors and volunteers for the first few weeks of each semester who are there to provide additional information, whether that is directions around our very big campus, or again, things like the library or the systems and how to use them. So through the Students' Union, they do have a jobs board, and they have a volunteering opportunity board if that's something which is of interest to you while you're here. So down to the programs themselves, as I said, we began as a university for sports and exercise. So that's something we still have many programs through our physical education and sports sciences faculty, but we have grown to be a comprehensive university. So there's many, many courses under science and engineering, from your civil to aeronautical to computer, electronic, right across the board then to your mathematics, statistics, physics side of things. As I said, the business school is in the top 1% of business schools. So we have things like international management and global business, which is a popular program, international entrepreneurship, marketing, consumption and society, right down to, again, then your business analytics and more statistical programs in the Chemie Business School. Under education and health sciences, then we have nursing, we have psychology, and various different programs under each of those. And that covers our sports and physical education side too. And then finally, arts, humanities, and social sciences, everything from linguistics to law. Again, there's several different law masters available here, your politics and public administration, and sociology. We do have as well the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance, which of course is going to have less people interested in it, but we have people from all over the world there studying things like ethnomusicology and ethnochoreology. So it's amazing to have students there, students from China, students from across countries in Africa who audition with their own music and dance, and then learn a bit of Irish music and dance while they're here too, and share their own traditions and knowledge. So they're really interesting programs if that's the area that you are interested in studying in. I just added this extra program because it does say medicine underneath our science programs. We do have a graduate entry medical school. So that's for students who already have their degree and would like to then go and do the bachelor in surgery. So it is a lot of money. It is very difficult to get into, but I've put information here for the medical school specifically in case that's something of interest. The MSc in public health is something of interest to people who are already in the industry, who want to work in government organizations, who want to work in non-profit organizations in the healthcare setting. But just to note, they do have an earlier deadline of the 1st of July, and the program starts earlier in August. So again, I've put a link there in case that's something of interest, and their contact details, because they're a little bit separate from us in the international office. This then is for all of the other programs. So whether it's science, engineering, business, arts, our programs, you can find the full list of them there on the website. 1 or 2 years in duration, depending on the program, but the majority are just the 1 year. So with your 1 year, it's a busy year. It is quite compact because it's all been squished in. I'm getting a nodding head here. But it starts in generally the start of September. And sorry, guys. Yeah, thanks. So it starts at the start of September, and then you have your first semester ends in December at Christmas time. You have a long enough break then for Christmas, so lots of time to head home or travel around Europe or whatever it is you want to do. Then the end of January to May is semester number 2. And then the summertime is working on your research project or your thesis, whatever way your program is structured. Again, regardless of what you're studying, it's generally in larger lectures where you have the whole group together and then supported by smaller labs and tutorials and group work with your teaching assistants and lecturers. It's a rolling admissions process, so it's open. You can apply now, and the deadline is the 10th of July to apply for the majority of programs. Like anything, the earlier the better. Some of them will fill very quickly. Others, there will be room even after the 10th of July. And because there's no visas required for Europe, you can absolutely apply. But 10th of July is our kind of general cutoff date in the hope that we have everything in by then. So bear that in mind. But as I say, if you want to live on campus, now is the time to apply, and then to also apply for accommodation at the same time. Application is much easier as postgrads than undergrads in Ireland. You can apply directly to us. So you just go to the program page and you'll see the apply now button. So I'll just show you an example. All the program pages are set up in the same way. You'll see the title at the top. You can search the list or you can just search it. You'll see the general kind of course details at the top. You'll also see the course director and their email listed. If you have a specific question, for example, in this case about international management and global business, the types of job you'll go into afterwards or what modules will be covered on the program, they're the people to ask those really kind of specific questions of. So that's why their information is there, so that you can ask them. And as you'll see, then there's 2 boxes. So there's apply now, if you've made the decision, you're ready to pay the €50 and to apply, or express interest if you would like more information about the program, or if it's for maybe a year's time and you're not sure. And then you can organize a call or a meeting with one of the course directors if you'd like more information. Each page then is the same. You have your overview at the top, and then you'll also see a breakdown of the modules that you'll study, the fees, the entry requirements, and there's usually some profiles of graduates who've done that program and where they are now in terms of jobs. And then the other thing to bear in mind is a book of modules. So if there's any of those modules you'd like to know a little bit more about, you can click on this here, put in the module name, and it will give you a breakdown of who the leader is, how many hours you have in class per week, what the general syllabus and learning outcomes are. This is just an example of some of the companies that our students have either done internships with at undergraduate, where our lecturers have worked or continue to work and sometimes do workshops, and where our graduates have gone to work after they have graduated from UL. So as I say, a right mixture across law, accounting, business, sports, science, engineering, you name it, we probably have a graduate there. So, as I kind of briefly said, admissions are open now and you have until the 10th of July. Some of the programs are an earlier deadline, so just make sure you check that. So public health is, just to give an example, the 1st of July for EU students. You apply directly from the page. It's a €50 one-off application fee. And then to accept your program, there's a €250 fee. So just bear that in mind. Our admissions team will do their best to have an answer with you within 2 weeks. It will depend. If you leave it to the 10th of July, they'll obviously have lots and lots to be going through. If you do it now, it's busy, but they'll try and get back to you within those 2 weeks with your conditional or unconditional offer if you already have your results and all the required documents. For some programs, architecture, for example, you will be asked to provide a portfolio. For others, you may have to provide references or a CV or a motivation letter as to why you'd like to do that program. Psychology, for example, is one where you will need a one-page motivation letter, but that will all be listed under the entry requirements on the program page. And I have the link here, but of course you also have to satisfy the English language requirements, and those are on this page. So we accept IELTS, Cambridge, TOEFL, and also Duolingo at the moment. So that one is generally cheaper and easier to organize. So bear that in mind as well. You don't have to have your English certificate when you apply. We will still give you the conditional offer on the condition that you sit your test and pass it at the necessary level. And then in terms of kind of general entry requirements, for the majority of our programs, it's what we call a second class honours degree. So in and around your 50 to 59%. But again, that depends on the program. So you'll have to check the entry requirements of the program that you're looking at specifically. Tuition fees, I've listed there the entire document, which breaks down every program, whether it's postgrad, part-time, full-time, online, they're all listed there. If anyone is unsure as to whether they're EU or non-EU, if you've lived in a non-EU country for a certain amount of time, if your passport is from another country, you can use that chart there to check your fee status, or you can also get in contact with me if you'd like me to check it with the fees office. I've just given there kind of what they're starting from in terms of prices. For arts and humanities, which includes the music and dance, they start from €6,800. Again, the majority of those programs are all 1 year. So that's 6,800 for your year. You graduate with your master's. From the Chemie Business School, they're a little bit more expensive, but again, top business school. So they're in and around 9,000 to 11,000 for the majority of the programs there. And then science and engineering is kind of 6, so we'll say 7,000, 7,000, 8,000 for the majority of the programs there. And education and health sciences from €6,000. In terms of funding, so it's important to note that as EU citizens, you also may have access to the SUSI grant. So it is a government initiative in Ireland. It's not a UL funding, it's an Irish funding system. If you go onto their website, you can look at what's called the eligibility reckoner. So it's a calculator. It'll ask you what you're earning or what your household earns. It'll ask you how much your course is going to cost, and then it will do a quick calculation as to whether you may have financial assistance in paying your master's fees. Scholarships, we don't unfortunately have many at the University of Limerick, but it is always worth checking the funding page because they're generally done by faculty. So for example, I know that there are 10 science and engineering scholarships for this year. They're €2,000, so 2,000 off your 7,000 would be a nice helping hand towards your tuition costs. So make sure to check that depending on the faculty you're in. And then there's also information there on student loans as postgraduate students and how that works with the banks and credit unions here in Ireland. Employability, we're ranked in the top 200 globally for employability. And as I said, it's a 96% employability rate within 6 months. So I've put a link there to graduate testimonials and to the market survey, which is done each year. So that shows by program, by faculty, what percentage of students are working, whether they're working in Ireland, Europe, or elsewhere in the world. And it also gives starting salary amounts, so you can see what generally students from your program have graduated and gone on to earn. And then I think there's no harm in having a quick look at the critical skills occupations list. If you think you're going to stay in Ireland, that's a list of areas where we are lacking in people and lacking in skills. So there's a lot of very specific engineering roles in there, IT roles in there, and obviously there's more jobs available for those if they're areas where we need people. Cost of living, I will hand this over to Apostolos because I know it's something very close to his heart. But just to give you the general overview, it's 11.30 per hour is the minimum wage here in Ireland, which you should be earning, whether it's a delivery driver or in the cinema. And hopefully even greater than that if you get kind of more stable work afterwards. Limerick specifically, I've put a link there to another type of calculator. So it's very hard because you may smoke, you may not drink, you may take taxis, you may want to travel. So it's hard to do it based on any one person. But it says about €843 per month. Now that's without rent, but including utilities. So if you remember, if you're living on campus, your utilities will already be paid for. But as I said, I just chose a random amount of going out, taxis, travel. So you'd have to do it for your own general living costs. So do take a look at it. In Ireland, all students can get a student leap card. It does give great discounts on travel, so that's a very handy one to have, and it can be used in a number of clothes shops and food places as well. And mobile phones are not that expensive here, so plans are from €13, but I would say €20 would get you everything you need in terms of all you can eat data. But again, Tolis, if maybe you can give us a little bit on that in a minute. And then just to show you academic calendar wise. So again, majority of programs start in September. Week 0 is what we call orientation week. So we'd be encouraging everyone to arrive then, move into their apartment, get to know their classmates. Week 1 is the first week of classes. So that'll be the 11th of September this year. You run until December. And then you're off from anywhere between the 8th and 21st of December. Whenever your exams are over, that's when your holidays begin. And then the spring term starts at the end of January. So why us? I've put a link there to a video because we turned 50 last year. So a nice video on where we came from, where we're at today, and where we would like to go in the next few years at the university. As I said, most recommended in Ireland. We're in the top 75 universities in Europe for excellence in teaching and learning. And again, graduate employability incredibly strong here at the University of Limerick. So I've put some links here to our webinar where we get our ambassadors on and have alumni tell their stories, a link to our virtual tour if you'd like to see the campus in more real life than photos. And you can sign up for UL updates. But I'd love to hand over now to Apostolos, who can introduce himself. And if you want to give us just a little bit about your own experience, I've already heard this, but but again, I would very much encourage you guys, if you have specific questions now, peer-to-peer, it's not me selling the university, you have a Cypriot to answer your questions. So please do pop them in the chat box. And if you think of anything afterwards as well, you can send us a note. So if you chat away and then I'll finish up afterwards.
Yeah, first of all, to give a small overview of my background, so as for the guys to understand from where I am and what is my previous studies. So I finished my high school back in Athens, Greece, and I moved to Cyprus when I was 18 years old. And I studied in Limassol, in Tepak. Maybe everyone is going to know that university in Limassol. So I studied there for 4 years. I worked for 2 years in a shipping company in Limassol. And after that, I decided to make a master program here in Ireland. I'm currently in my second semester of the postgraduate program in business entrepreneurship management. So it's not it's similar to my bachelor degree, but it's something different because I wanted to make something different, so as to spread a little bit my horizons to different fields. So this is my background. About the university now. Chiara, do you want to say something in particular, or just say general thoughts about the experience here?
Yeah, just your kind of general how you came across us again, when you were looking at your different options. If you want to mention as well, because I know they're just the things that are important to people, cost of living, travel, accommodation. Yeah, those types.
So yeah. So the application process, it was like very easy. It doesn't like last for more than 1 month for me. The only important thing is that you have to take care about the accommodation. You have to apply early so as to find accommodation in the campus, because like Kara said, there are a lot of students that they are asking for accommodation in the villages. The living here in the campus is it's grant, like you said, it's like very good. There are international students everywhere, so there's no possibility to don't find like friends or to don't like communicate with different cultures here. About the standard of living is a little bit higher for sure from Greece, but even from Cyprus a little bit higher. There's not a big difference from Limassol, like because I know like I went to Limassol for vacations and I know how is the situation there. There's no big difference from Limassol. Also, you have a lot of options here if you want to go out. As Kara said, it's a countryside here. It's not like Athens or Nicosia. It's like more like a countryside section. So there's a lot of nature. There's a lot of green. Personally, I woke up every morning and I saw like green places outside. There's much more different from what I used to see in Greece and in Cyprus. Personally, I prefer it, so it's very good for me. There are a lot of facilities. Like I really impressed. The thing that I'm most really impressed is about the facilities of university. We are here. We are far away from the facilities in Greece and in Cyprus. There are like a library that it's like it's extraordinary. I mean, even for me, that I'm not a guy that used to use the libraries at all. This type of library motivates me so as to study more. And there are a lot of facilities like the Chemist Business School. It's the main building that I'm going to because I'm a business student here. So yeah, like all the facilities and all the lecturers are very helpful. They're trying to they understand you that you are an international student, so they are trying to adapt you in their program. Okay, so the standard of living is a little bit high, but like the experiences that you are going to earn here is very good. As I know, because it's in our culture to party and stuff, so I want to mention that there are not too much options here so as to party. But yeah, if you are interested like to party, there are like every Friday there's an international party that lasts from 8 o'clock at night until 12. I know that it's a little bit different in Greece and Cyprus, but okay. And there is also some other nights like during the week, like techno party at Tuesdays or another like party in the center of Limerick every Saturday. But yeah, this is a good thing in one hand because you are concentrated more in your studies. From the other hand, if you want to party, okay, you have the options, but it's much more or less like than Greece and Cyprus. About the classmates, like personally, I made friends from the first week here. The university accommodates students from all around the world, so don't feel bad. Like you are not the only one that is not from Ireland. There are a huge amount of students that are coming from different countries, so you can meet like different people and different cultures. And this is very important because this is the thing that I gain, and I think it's the most important for me here. Except my master degree, I had the opportunity like to meet with a lot of good people and good like lecturers. These are some things from me. I don't know if someone wants to ask something more particular. Also, it's very good that as Kara said, the gym university is for free for students, and we speak about a completely different gym from what we thought back in Cyprus and Greece. It's a whole facility building that accommodates pool, swimming pool, classes. It's 3 floors, so you can enjoy like not only the gym, but there's a track inside for track athletes. There's ping pong pools. Yeah, and you can make like whatever you want inside. I mean, it's very very interesting. So this is what I wanted to tell.
Thank you very much. I just have a quick question. How many people are actually in your master's course?
We're about 9 students, but only 3 of them are from Ireland. So the rest is from India, from France, and we have another one from Germany also. Yeah.
Super. Now that depends. It does obviously depend on the program. We have a business analytics program, which is full and has about 80 people on it. Whereas then the entrepreneurship, the international business, international management, sorry, and global business, they're all a bit smaller. But again, that just means it's contact time with your lecturers. So, and it was great to hear you saying that, because we do always say that our lecturers are very open to helping and to taking questions, but it's good to hear that from you as well, so thank you.
Yeah, and for me, like, I have a personal experience now, because I already pick up my subject for my master thesis that I have to present on August, and my supervisor is like maybe the best lecturer that I have in my whole academic years.
Oh, super.
Yeah, like they are very helpful. They want to help you. They don't ignore you. They doesn't try like to avoid you. They're there so as to help you, and not only for the studies, but in general for your life here in Limerick.
Yeah, brilliant. And I had to apologize to our European students because my role didn't exist here last year. So they had to figure it all out by themselves. But going forward, I'm here now, and that's why we have things like this. But also, we're supposed to be someone that you can drop into the office. We have a reception that's ever open. So if there were any issues with lecturers or with housemates or with anything, we're kind of that in between helping point. And we do have a new global lounge, which will be created within the next few months. So that will be another kind of common space for students to drop into to get information, but also just to hang out. So another place to hang out that's not necessarily a pub or a restaurant or somewhere that you have to be spending money. So I hope to see you there, Apostolos, when we have it up and running. You might be busy with your thesis by then.
Yeah. And also I forgot to say that also about the break during the Christmas break. It's very good because it's different from Cyprus. Here we're finished with our exams and deadlines of our assignments by the end of November, maybe the first week of December. So after that, you have like, I think 1.5 months so as to go back in Cyprus or in Greece and spend your holidays with your parents or travel around Europe. So because the second semester starts at 23rd of January, so yeah, you have like plenty of time so as to spend your holidays with your friends. So this is a good thing also, because I had the possibility like to go around Ireland at that period and to go back to Athens so as to make vacations with my friends. And I know that for Cypriots and Greek, it's very important like to go back at some point and meet their families.
Absolutely. And it's an easy trip to Dublin Airport, isn't it? It's yeah. It's a direct bus from near the campus or in the campus up to the airport.
Yeah, the means of transport also is very, very organized, and with the Leap card that you mentioned, Chiara, is even much easier. Like it's 60 cents for a trip, so it's nothing. Like for us, you can go around around the city without a car or a bike. It's the means of transport are working very, very good.
Which is really funny because we don't think it's very good in Ireland.
Yeah, I understand that. No, you have to go back to Cyprus and Greece so as to understand how well organized you are here.
I paid €140 in a taxi from Paphos to Larnaca. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just somebody asked there about clubs and societies. So I think you told me you're not a member of any of them.
No, I'm
the gym, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty going to the gym, but I know from my classmates that there are a lot of clubs and societies, and you can try different things here. This is a good thing. there are rugby societies, or a canoe kayak, or a pool, and there are competitions like also soccer. It's more close to our culture, like, because there's no soccer here, football, sorry. There's more rugby sports, or badminton, or frisbee. These sports that I first saw when I came here. So yeah, I'm not used to make this type of sports. So, but there is a variety of sports, and you can try like different things. Hiking. I know a lot of guys that prefer to go to that club, to that society, because there's hiking, and here in Ireland is very well known. And also the photographer society, something like that, photo society. Yeah, maybe someone is interested so as to go in.
Yeah, so there really is there's a bit of everything. So whether you're more sporty and want to try something, there's an American football team, for example. So the Irish won't have played that either. Everyone is starting off new
Yeah.
if we join something like that. But there's music, there's dance, there's politics, there's languages. So there's lots of options. And during orientation, well, just after orientation week or during orientation week, the clubs and societies will do a big fair. So they call it their recruitment drive as such. They'll have a booth, you go up, you ask them questions, they might do little displays on the types of things that they usually do, give ideas of events. So you can join up before that, at that, or after that, anytime throughout the year. And the other thing, just to mention, while I'm thinking of the use of the massive sports hall, is that there's always a big careers fair there as well. So it does depend on what you're interested in doing. But did you manage to attend the careers fair?
Yeah. In the first semester, we are able like to meet with different companies around Ireland. It depends on your field. For us, like for business students, there is a specific day that about 80 companies around Ireland come, and they are searching for future employees. So you have the possibility to communicate with companies like Deloitte, PwC, Jameson, and other companies, so as to work after your graduation. And the thing here is a little bit different from what we are used to. Here, you have to apply for a job like the latest on February before you finish your master, so as to find a job after your master, after August. You have to apply a little bit early here. Personally, for me, like I had two opportunities so as to apply for a job for after my graduation in PwC and Deloitte, but like I selected that I want to proceed and to go to another country after here, so I didn't proceed with the application. But this is very good system, because like you can know before you finish your master degree that you are going to find a job after that for sure. Like you are going to finish on August and you can start on September to work directly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually what I did as well. So, you know, I was studied business with French. It was through the careers fair that I met with the Irish Trade Board, and all of their jobs were abroad, because I was the same. I didn't want to stay in Ireland. I wanted to do some time abroad. And it was through that job that I ended up in Canada for 4 years. So there's opportunities to go abroad as well. In that obviously many of these companies are international. They're not just Irish. Okay, well, thank you, Apostolos. I think that's kind of us covered.
Thank you.
Excellent. I think we have concluded our presentation. Apostolos, thank you so much for sharing all this very useful info.
It's my pleasure.
Kira, do you want to share some contact details before we finish with our...
Yeah, so I've just put our kind of general email on this last slide here. So if ever, for example, I travel a lot with my job, so it could be that I'm not answering my emails, UL Global, somebody will always answer. It goes to the relevant recruiter, or the team who are based in Limerick will make sure that they have an answer out to you as well. Equally though, on the initial slide, you have my direct email. So it's just kira.halliday@ul.ie, and I'm happy to take questions about entry requirements or accommodation, or as I say, whatever it is. We have one last question about shopping. I would say Ireland is probably not the best for shopping in terms of groceries and things. No problem. We have Lidl, we have Aldi, we have the budget kind of supermarkets. If you're wanting to buy clothes and things, I think you should wait until one of your trips to elsewhere. Oh, clothing. Yeah. Okay. I mean, obviously we have stores. If you have ever been to a Primark around the world, Pennies is from Ireland. It is an Irish store originally. There's one in Limerick. There's three in Limerick. So you'll always have somewhere. We also have an Irish chain called Dunn's. If you're buying bedding or things for your room or your house, that's all very kind of value budget friendly as well. So you won't be stuck. If you're looking for fashionista, I suggest saving your money for a trip to Italy maybe or Spain to the home of Zara. Though we have all of them in Ireland too. No worries at all. So look, that's our website. That's our general email. You have my email as well. And I've also put a link there to Study Ireland, which are our blogs from our international ambassadors from all over the world. They give tips and tricks and interesting stories from their time here. So that might be something you want to have a look at. And you'll find us on all the social media channels, from TikTok to Snapchat to whatever else, Facebook and Instagram. And we're pretty good at having our ambassadors take over on those as well. So you can always do Q&As with them and see some behind the scenes footage around campus and the accommodation and different things. So thank you very much for your attention today. And I will send on the slides to you, Despo, so that you have them. And if you could share those with everybody, that would be great.
Great. On behalf of Global Education Services, I would like to express our thanks to our speaker, Kira, and our special guest, Apostolos, for presenting to us and sharing their student experience. Also, a big thanks to everyone that joined us today. We hope you find the webinar useful. And for any other kind of information, you can always contact us directly at Global Education Services at 227-80250. And once more, thank you so much for joining us, and wishing you a lovely evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.